1 minute to go, so if you can stand right in the middle here. Okay. So at 3 minutes, put up 2 fingers. At 4 minutes, put up 1 finger. Okay?
You made the accusation, you go first, and I will come afterwards.
Okay. Now, today, we're going to talk about fitna. We're going to talk about the 5 verses in fitna. Surah 8, Ayah 60. Surah 4, Ayah 89. Surah 47, Ayah 4. Surah 4, Ayah 56. And Surah 8, Ayah 39. Those are the 5 verses that are in this movie called Fitna. Please see the movie. It's only 14 minutes long. You can see it up on YouTube. It has not been banned. Now, let me say at the very beginning, I do not agree with Gerd Wilders. I do not agree that this book should be banned. Absolutely not. No book should be banned. I do not agree that Muslims should be thrown out of Europe. Are you hearing me? I am very clear. I do not agree with Gerd Wilders' conclusion. But I do agree that Gerd Wilders has the right and the freedom to talk about these verses, to expose these verses, to create a debate around these verses. Because, folks, there is violence in the world today. There is violence that's happening in the name of Islam, as there is violence happening in the name of Christianity. I am a Christian, and I will defend what my Lord Jesus Christ says. And I'm going to ask Abdullah, can he defend these verses? Should we be banning anybody from speaking about these verses? Because when I open up the Quran, and when I look at the verses in the Quran, especially the Medinan surahs, I am troubled by the violence I see there. We don't have verses like this in the New Testament. You will not find verses in the New Testament, in the gospel of Jesus Christ. You will not see Jesus saying to slay the unbelievers, cut off the heads of the unbelievers, like you see in Surah 47, Ayah 4. You will not hear Jesus Christ say that we are to make this religion, push and enforce this religion so that others are forced to pray and give the zakat, like you see in Surah 8, Ayah 39. Folks, be careful what you hear today, and you make a choice. Listen to Abdullah, and let's see how he supports these verses. And then you make a decision. If you want peace, and I hope you all want peace, that's what we want today. We all want peace in Britain. We want it in Europe. We want it in Italy. We have some Italian friends here with us. And this man here is going to get up on the ladder next. And he's going to talk about how he can find peace. But if you really want peace, then you've got to ask, which is the revelation that gives you that peace? Is it the Quran, this book here, that Abdullah is going to support? Or is it the Bible? The New Testament. Not the Old Testament, but the New Testament. The gospel of Jesus Christ. Are you going to find peace with Muhammad, his prophet? Or can you find, in fact, I would say, the only peace with Jesus Christ? And I submit that if you want peace, you're going to have to come home. If you want peace, you're going to have to go away from this book and come back to my book.
No,
you're going to have to go away from the Quran and come back to the New Testament. You're going to have to go away from Muhammad and come back to Jesus.
No.
That's the first thing I'm going to say today. Secondly, should we be banning these kind of discussions? Should any government be banning an individual from coming in to this country and showing a film on the House of Lords? Now, folks, I was part of inviting Gerd Wilders here. I was there at the House of Lords to make sure that that film got shown. I was there at the press conference. I was there at the press conference when the whole world press came to ask, why was this government banning this man? You may not like Geert Wilders. I don't really know him. I've never met him. I don't like his conclusions. But I allow him the right to ask these questions. And that's why we're here at Speaker's Corner. The bastion of freedom of speech. You let me know when we're finished. Can you say time out? Okay, time out, and I'll give it to my erstwhile companion, Abdullah.
Now we've heard Jay talk about Geert Wilders, and that Geert Wilders should be given the freedom of speech to go and talk about his views and express his views. Unfortunately, Geert Wilders, if he had his way, wouldn't extend the same privilege. Geert Wilders doesn't believe in freedom of speech because he's talking of banning things. Geert Wilders wants to ban things that he doesn't like and he sees as subversive. So it's funny how people defend Geert Wilders and for freedom of speech when Geert Wilders himself is contrary to freedom of speech. It's very interesting. Secondly, the case with the invitation made by Jay Smith to Geert Wilders to come over to UK, we have to look at the context. In this country, there are laws. There are laws that have to be respected. One of those laws is inciting to racial hatred is a crime, and inciting to religious hatred is a crime.
Wait,
and
there is no crime.
Yes, there is actually. If you check the statute books, I have. If you incite hatred against someone just because they are a member of a particular religion, then this is a crime and you can be locked up for that. And why did Britain institute these laws? Because
the Zionist lobby. The Zionists wanted those laws.
Like any country, you can't have absolute freedom in any particular thing. You can't have absolute freedom of speech because people will hate one against others, and then you will lead to a Nazi Germany type situation. Remember, Hitler never started his career inciting violence. He never started his career doing that. He incited his career inciting hatred. So Europe learned from the lesson of Hitler, and they learned from the lesson of the many racist groups and the pogroms against Jews that happened in the UK. They learned the lesson that absolute freedom cannot be given to anyone in anything. Rather, there is freedom within responsible limits. This is what the government of Britain, France, Spain, all these countries have come to the conclusion about. Not me, not Sharia, not a Mufti. Secondly, Imam Qaradawi, who believed that the tactic of suicide bombing was allowed, was a legitimate thing, not killing civilians. He didn't say kill civilians. He said the tactic of delivering a warhead, a explosive, to its target can be done personally if you lack the missile rockets to do it yourself. Obviously, if you are America or Britain, you don't need to use suicide bombing. You just press a button and a satellite-guided rocket will kill a couple of thousand civilians, no problem. No need to take it there yourself. Must make them more civilized then. But regarding these verses in the Quran, which he finds objectionable, he refers to verses in the Quran whereby the Quran tells Muslims when we can fight in warfare, when we can't, how we should do it, because Islam, unlike the New Testament Christianity, deals with every aspect of human life and affairs in the world. Christians don't know how to fight wars, which is why Christians have been responsible for the most bloodiest wars in history, because they have no limits given to them. They don't know how to fight one. Their Bible doesn't tell them. The Bible doesn't tell them. But the Old Testament does tell people how to fight wars, and we're going to discuss a bit more just what the God who this guy believes is Jesus. What did Jesus tell Joshua to do to a whole city of men, women, and children? Later we're going to ask this question in the next coming section, and we'll also ask about how Islam, what does these verses really